Hey, how's it going? All right, listen. Sundays. On Sundays, this past Sunday was kind of like the first one, little pilot run of it. Myself, Repose, Vincent, Katie, a whole bunch of other people. We were able to do something really cool. At least I thought. We started off with this idea that we wanted to do Wyvern Boss and then maybe recruit some people from chat. It was just really the three of us that wanted to go in, and then Vincent came along a little bit later to see if we could end up doing some polls on the Wyvern, just in normals, going in with low roller lobbies, like 24 GS and under, just so that everybody had an opportunity to do it. And what it turned into was something really cool, where we're able to not only have our server with a bunch of people that were all Q sniping, just filling lobbies full of people on US East, but also there were secondary and tertiary and quaternary lobbies where people not only on US East were grouping up and going in and killing Wyvern anyway, but they were doing it on the EU servers too. There was an SCA server that was getting people together to do it, and it ended up being like this really cool, like just impromptu community event. So what I think I'd like to do with everybody's participation, of course, is maybe turn this into like a Sunday fun day kind of thing, where people have the ability to maybe get in there and attempt the Wyvern Boss, either with us or just with people randomly getting together and trying to make it happen. Because one of the things that I've noticed is it's awful easy for content creators like myself, you know, with about as popular as I am, even though I'm not the biggest content creator in the world, but as popular as I am, there's a lot of people that are willing to volunteer to help out for things like that. It's not hard for somebody in my position to get people together to do those kinds of things. But people that are like normal gamers or whatever, the weekend warriors, the people that play after work, you know, normal people, they don't have the luxury of somebody like me being able to just pull other people in and have people just kind of come out of the woodwork to want to play the video game and team up. So I think on Sundays, what I'd like to do is see if we could get people together and try and see if we can kill the Wyvern Boss, or maybe we can even do different styles of attempts where people go down to try and kill different bosses or whatever. Turn this into more of a community event on Sundays where we get together to try and like down the new content. And we were able to do that. So this video, what I'd like to do is go through the entire Wyvern fight from start to finish from multiple different angles. There were times where I lived and killed him. There were times where I died and killed him. Got to watch over-the-shoulder perspectives from different players and what they were doing, and just go through a bunch of footage from the VOD and show you guys the different attacks, what to avoid, how to avoid them, and show like from different positions what to expect and how to get through all of the fight. Okay, so hopefully you guys will find this educational. In the meantime, you know, watch this as a reference if you need to brush up, and then I guess we'll see you guys on Sunday, and we'll try to make sure this whole thing actually flies. Okay? All right. Oh, but before I get into the guide, I almost forgot. This video is sponsored by MANSCAPED. So there's an ad that I will play from the sponsor. Please watch it. That would be awesome. Please consider using the link or whatever, and then we'll do the rest of the guide. All right? All right. Every Dark and Darker gamer knows mana is stored in the balls, but the best balls are shorn balls. And today's sponsor, Manscaped, has confidently cupped the trust of over 10 million different people. That's more than 20 million balls. And today, we're popping the package on their latest treasure chest, the Performance Package 5.0 Ultra, featuring the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra. This package features the Lawnmower 5.0 with its two dual skin safe blade heads, now accompanied by an upgraded trimmer blade and interchangeable foil blade for enhanced performance. The upgraded trimmer blade features longer, wider, and rounded teeth that cut through hair with ease. Tough on hair, yet incredibly gentle on the skin. It's a precision powerhouse, and I can vouch for this. Just for the meme of it, I went and shaved my entire chest. I'm going to save you the visual of it, but I can tell you that it didn't pull a single hair. This thing was clean. But here's the real game changer, the foil blade. Crafted to transcend the boundaries of your typical trim achieved with the trimmer blade, this foil blade is designed to leave you with a finish that's irresistibly sleek and utterly bare. And the dual blade system could not be easier. All you do is finish up with the first one, pop it off with your thumb, and pop in the second one. It takes seconds. The Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra also has a bigger LED light than previous models and introduces a dual temperature feature, thoughtfully engineered to embrace and flatter multiple skin tones. And if you're part of the OG Manscaped fam, rest assured they have some of the great features you've all come to love. A USB-C rechargeable lithium-ion battery, a travel lock, 3-level battery life indicator, and the best part,
still waterproof.
The Weed Whacker 2.0 ear and nose hair trimmer is waterproof, cordless, and rechargeable. Built in with skin-safe technology, this bad boy is designed to tackle those nose and ear hairs with ease. Then we have the Crop Soother and Crop Preserver. The Crop Soother, an essential moisturizing aftershave to keep your balls as fresh as possible. And then for that added layer of freshness, the Crop Preserver ball deodorant to keep the funk at bay. After all, you want to keep your man-adoring balls at peak performance and squeaky clean. And it doesn't stop there. The Performance Package 5.0 Ultra also includes 2 free gifts. The first, the Boxers 2.0. Not run-of-the-mill boxers, they're tailored for the pinnacle of comfort and feature the jewel pouch. Manscaped also threw in their Shed 2.0, a grooming command center to fit all of the pieces and parts of this ultimate package. So come join the over 10 million men that have put their confidence in Manscaped. Head on over to manscaped.com and get your hands on the Performance Package 5.0 Ultra today. When you use the promo code Onepeg, you will get 20% off plus free international shipping and 2 free gifts. That is 20% off plus 2 free gifts at manscaped.com using code Onepeg. Trust me, fellas, your balls will thank you. Okay, Frost Wyvern boss. A couple of misconceptions that I want to make sure that we get out of the way right from the knuckle, okay? The first thing is you have to have 4 people to summon it. I don't know why this is. It just is. It's an unfortunate reality that we all live with right now, but the Wyvern boss, in order to be able to pull them, you need 4 people. And I do mean people. We've tried every substitution that we could possibly think of to block these 4 beams that you see around the shield. You have to block each beam. 1 person stands in each one of the beams, and then it triggers the boss fight. You can't use harpies. You can't have druids summon treants. You can't use a Hydra. You can't use the barricade that the druid can summon with the thorn barrier and all. None of that stuff works. It has to be 4 individual players, okay? Or 3 players and one of them multi-boxes a character or something. Like, that's the only way it's going to work, all right? You have to have 4 individual playable characters interacting with those beams, interrupting them, and then the fight begins. As far as I am aware, the Frost Wyvern does not have any differing mechanics between normal and high roller. The difference between normal and high roller is that the attacks that he does more damage, and obviously he has more health. In normal mode, he has 3,615 HP, and in high roller, he has 7,115 HP. Considerably different. He has a lot of different attacks that I'm going to show you guys, but there are 3 primary phases that are indicated by him flying up into the air and firing 3 breath attacks in rapid succession. Now, he will fly up into the air and do breath attacks, but they're a lot slower when he does them normally. When he's doing phase transitions, he will fly up into the air and fire them off quickly at 3 random targets. 1, 2, 3. Pretty quick. When he flies up into the air and fires that attack at a random person, assuming that the person dodges it, when it impacts the ground in the circle in the arena where you're fighting him, it creates kind of like this ice chunk, this ice block. The 3 phases, we refer to them as back, and front, based on where the player has to position themselves around those ice chunks as the phase transition happens. The first 2 times that he does this, he does a frost breath. So he'll fly up into the air, fire the 3 chunks into the ground, and then he'll do a frost breath when he lands. That frost breath affects everything within line of sight of him on the platform. So the only 2 options that you have are to get behind one of the chunks of ice and line of sight the dragon so that you don't end up taking any cold damage, or you can jump off the edge onto one of the pillars for the jumping puzzle to get up to the boss and stand there, line of sighting the boss, and you won't take damage there either. However, understand that if everyone in the party were to do this, it would effectively reset the fight because you're no longer in the arena. Somebody has to remain in there with him. The third time that this happens, so the first 2 times you're going to get behind the ice chunk or in back of the ice chunk. The third time that this happens, if you transition him to the 3rd phase, when he lands, he does not do a breath anymore. Instead, what he will do is like a wing buffeting, where he tries to push you off of the ledge. He'll push you backward. There are a few different ways to combat this, and I don't know if this is intentional, but for the time being, this is how it works. When he pushes you back at your own movement speed. So if you crouch and walk at the same time toward him and do like a bandaging animation or a reload animation for something like a hand crossbow, which you can see Repose doing here, something like that will push you slower toward the edge than if you were like to stand and try and walk. You're much, much faster walking than if you're like crouch crawling forward, which is another way to combat this. But assuming that you aren't that savvy, what you do is stand in front of the ice chunk and let it push you into the chunk like it's a wall, because you're not going to get moved by it, and you can just kind of eat it that way. It doesn't do any damage, okay? Assuming that you're able to push past those 3 phases, you just continue to DPS him down, and eventually he dies. So back, back, front. That's the primary thing that you need to remember. The rest of the attacks that he does are either based on proximity to whoever's next to him, or like hitting him, or people that are at range, or whether or not he's trying to get to somebody that he ends up aggroing, etc. So assuming that you are in melee range, he has a few different attacks. He has a couple of different tail swipes that look like this. Then he has a combo attack where he walks forward and slashes with his front paws or claws, where he takes 3 steps forward, but as he's taking those steps forward, he's kind of like taking a swing, like he's throwing haymakers each time that he steps forward. 1, 2, 3. He also has a 2-handed attack, which is kind of like this lunge forward. And then he also has these special like leaping attacks where he'll like smash the ground in front of him, or he will choose a target at range. So if you're a ranged class that ended up catching his aggro, either he will do a breath attack in a straight line in front of him that is avoidable, or he will kind of do a roar and then lunge at you. Oh!
So fast.
Nope.
Okay, big DPS.
Bye-bye. Which is really the one that ends up taking people out the most. The lunge is the tough one. You can avoid the lunge, but what people make the mistake of doing is trying to strafe sideways instead of turning 90 degrees to one side and then running forward, which is what you really need to do. You want to turn 90 degrees to the left or right if he's facing you. You know, turn perpendicular to him and run at a 90-degree angle to the side, and then jump and crouch to avoid his wing as it comes in to clip you. What typically ends up happening and how people end up getting knocked out in this fight is when he makes this lunge, just about everything that he does has a knockback. So when he makes this lunge, he'll hit you and then you get booped off the side edge, off the ledge, and then you end up falling into the void underneath and you die. The one other big thing that you have to look out for when it comes to the Frost Wyvern is when he does his transitions, especially the transition from phase 1 to phase 2. In phase 1, he'll go up, he does the breath attack, and then he lands kind of like on the edge of the arena and then fires the breath off. In the second phase, he'll do the breath attack, but he does the breath from the center of the arena. Anytime that the Frost Wyvern goes to land, or if he falls down like hard or tries to aim at somebody and lands on the ground, he always hits with a slam. So if you happen to be under him when he does this slam, you're probably going to end up pancaked. If that happens, you're probably dead. Oh my god, dude.
Oh, beyond the other.
Breath, 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 breath. Oh, he landed on me. I'm down. So you have to watch out for this stuff. The other thing that I would say that you really need to look out for is you don't want to get hit by him. If you get hit by him, he has a stacking slow debuff that is very brutal. So if he hits you with a breath attack, for instance, that is a 20% move speed slow and a 20% action speed slow for 8 seconds, and it stacks. If he hits you with a melee attack, it is a 15% action speed slow for 11 seconds, which slows you down significantly. You want to avoid these things at all costs, especially the move speed slow, because that will prevent you from being able to avoid any subsequent attacks that end up occurring from him at all. This fight is not something where you're going to really burn him down. To compare the hit point pools, for instance, someone like Ghost King has 3,300 hit points. Frost Wyvern has 3,600 just in normal mode. So he has significantly more HP than even Ghost King does as High Roller. But that's it, guys. That's the entire fight. So use this one as a reference, take your time, work your way through it, get some attempts in with the rest of us on Sunday, and we'll try and see if we can get you guys some kills to be able to get you some quest progress at the very least, or just experience the fight and have some fun with the rest of us. Okay? Thanks everybody for coming and checking it out. My name again is Onepeg. I really, really appreciate you coming by and checking out the video. If you'd be so kind as to sub the channel here, that would be amazing. Maybe even check out the sponsor, maybe hit the bell, you know, mix it up. You know, why not? Otherwise, you can come and see me live just about every day from 5 to 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time until whenever over at twitch.tv/onepeg. Otherwise, I suppose I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks so much. See you soon, okay, everybody? Peace.